Welcome to Gay USA. I'm Andy Humm.
I'm Ann Northrop.
And it's a pretty grim week. You've all read the news. The right wing's demonization of all things LGBTQ has led to the murder of Laura Carleton, a 66-year-old ally of ours in California, shot dead for displaying a rainbow flag. Our guest, who will be joining us shortly, is Charley Beal, president of the Gilbert Baker Foundation, named for the creator of the rainbow flag that has become an international symbol of our liberation and a target of the fascist right. Yes, let's bring in Charley Beal. Charley Beal is the president of the Gilbert Baker Foundation. Charley is also a very prominent art director for major motion pictures and television programs, everything from Milk to Spider-Man. So welcome, Charley.
Thank you, Ann, and thank you, Andy, for having me on your show. I'm grateful for this and to help spread the legacy of Gilbert Baker. He was a close friend and a real hero in our movement.
So here's the situation. This woman runs a design shop in Lake Arrowhead there in California, and she's got a rainbow flag up, and this young man starts remonstrating with her about it, hurling slurs, and then just decides to shoot her dead.
Yeah, this is just terrible, and I've got to tell you, this sort of thing we think about happening, in other countries, but it's coming to our shores. We've been tracking this kind of violence for a long time. In 2021, there was the Iranian young man, Alireza Fazeli Mofared, who was beheaded by his own family for having the gall to come out of the closet. But in reaction, his friends put rainbow flags on their backs and darted in and out of the streets of Tehran. They dared to do that in protest. In 2019, our friend Moses Mbazira organized the first Pride March in the Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya. This is the largest refugee camp in the world, a lot of Muslims there. They had about 50 people, and they got about 3/4 of a mile before they were attacked, beaten, their rainbow flags stolen and burned. And if you look at what's going on in China, 3 years ago, they shut down all the LGBTQ-friendly NGOs. This past spring, they shut down all the gay community centers, and this summer they arrested 2 lesbians with a rainbow flag in a public park. So, it's been around the world. Vladimir Putin, attacks Ukraine, claims that one of the problems there is they have these rainbow flags, and he is pledged to wipe the rainbow flag off the face of this earth. So we see this in other countries, but people have think, oh, it'll never happen here, but it has happened. And the reason it happened is we saw it coming. There's been this wave of hate in this country, this whole wave of anti-trans healthcare bills that have been passed or have been proposed. There are waves of anti-LGBTQ curriculum. We work with a group called History Unerased, trying to help them as they're helping us. And people banning the rainbow flag. And people have banned the rainbow flag in over 40 towns and school districts across this country in the last year. It just popped up on our radar a year ago. We started asking for help. And gratefully, we got some help from the ACLU. And in February, we launched an initiative called Save the Rainbow Flag. And that is basically a website with a toolkit, including an incredible legal letter provided by the ACLU so that we can empower local activists in all these towns and cities and these school districts across the country to help fight back against these bullies. And what I tell you is, we don't want to just fight back. We want to win. And we have won in California. We've won in New Jersey. We've won in Florida. And we just had a victory recently in Maryland. And every time we have a victory, we get the whole committee together. We figure out what worked, what didn't. We refine it. We make it better. We're fighting now in Hamtramck, Michigan, and Roanoke, Virginia. But sadly, this hate just keeps coming. These people are horrible.
Well, what appalled me was that everything you're talking about, they talk about, oh, it's sad, how awful that this woman was killed. They don't do the context that you're doing and that we're going to do here. I mean, Travis Ikaguchi, they do say that he posted things like a burning of a rainbow flag. There is one of his posts.
Right.
But, he's a Christian nationalist. He says the only way to the path of salvation and to have eternal life is through Jesus Christ, and apparently murdering innocent people due to his warped views, which is nothing, of course, that Jesus taught, but this is what they're rooted in. You know, the as you wrote in your release, I mean, the blood of Laura Carleton is on the hands of Fox News, Tucker Carlson, later Fox News, all these people who've been whipping this up as if, you have to stop this because these people are trying to get your children, basically. And as you said, they call us groomers. They call us, it's completely outrageous. Where are the reporters sticking the mics in the faces of these right-wing politicians as saying, is this what you want?
I thank you, Andy, for saying that, because, we have managed to get some coverage in USA Today. We, coincidentally, the week we launched was the week that the Republicans in Florida introduced Bill HB 1011 to ban the rainbow flag on public buildings in Florida. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of the most hateful homophobes in this country, introduced a bill to the United States Congress with 30 MAGA co-signers to ban the rainbow flag on all public buildings in the United States. And to go into their chat rooms and to go onto their websites and their Facebook groups, Facebook pages, and see the rhetoric that they, here they are in these silos, just getting this awful misinformation over and over again. And I have to say that, Andy, I've been warned about this recently by a lot of people about the language they're using about they're after your children and they're calling you groomers. They did this in the 50s. They did this in the 70s. And, it's not enough to just say they're using the rhetoric of the 50s. We need to go right back at them. And we need to say, hey, you know what? I was groomed to be straight by my family. I was groomed to be straight by my church. I was groomed to be straight by my school and everybody around me. And I still turned out gay. And if you're born straight, you're going to stay straight, even if your kid sits and watches a drag queen read a story in a library. And until we answer them directly with responses like that, we can't just say, oh, they're using that old rhetoric. We need to go right at them and disprove it to them again and again and again, because these backlashes have happened, and they're going to happen, and we'll beat them back. They'll come back again. And
well, their rhetoric is all about indoctrination. You're indoctrinating our kids. We have parents' rights. I mean, who indoctrinated Travis Ikaguchi? Where is the recognition of the danger of what these right-wing religions and right-wing politics do to people that cause such violence?
And social media. Travis Ikaguchi was spending a lot of time online looking at websites like Gab or social media sites that are spewing this rhetoric. And I would say, yes, some of it is the same rhetoric as the 50s or the 30s or whatever. But it's accelerated geometrically, and it comes after a time that seemed to be a great enlightenment. We were making such progress, and suddenly it's like we've been yanked backwards by a chain, and by people who suddenly feel empowered to be more loud and overt about this hatred, about their violence, about their threats. It's just exploded suddenly in ways that I think were not so overt before.
And read the comments on this story on a website like the New York Post, where people just come in and they say, well, yeah, but she's triggering these people with this thing. I mean, what did she expect?
Yeah, well,
people put their names on these things and they post them on the internet like, that's a valid view.
Well, at the Gilbert Baker Foundation, we love doing exhibits. We love doing educational projects, but, we're here as activists and we're not going to stand by when they do this. And we are going to fight back. And I have to tell you, I read a really encouraging story today in The Guardian about business owners and residents saying, no, I'm putting my pride flag up. This woman in Texas who decorates her front yard with pride flags because she has children who are LGBTQ plus members of her family. And she said, what message would I send to my children if I stopped putting up my pride flags? She said, and I'll quote this, I'm going to read it. It does scare me some, but not enough to stop what I'm doing. Mama Bear will always fight for them. And I tell you, we will too. We're a small foundation. We don't have a lot of funding. I like to tell people we're a little foundation with a really big symbol, the rainbow flag. We're going to use that.
Show us some of the images that you've assembled about how the flag has been treated around the world. We're going to just start running them, Rich. Like, where's this?
This is in Russia. And as you know, this started over 10 years ago when I think it was actually when Medvedev, is that his name? The guy who was briefly president between Putin and Putin, decided he had to be more homophobic than Putin. And they started passing these laws in Russia. We've had heroes like Peter Tatchell go to Red Square and hold up a rainbow flag. Thank you, Peter, to protest. But, they're also beating people. At this point, to fly a rainbow flag in Russia, you're taking your life into your own hands.
Let's go quickly through some of the others.
Yeah, this is the same. This is where you see, people fighting just over this symbol. And it is that big of a symbol. It's that people are that passionate about it. Gilbert understood that. When he created the flag, he always said flags are about power. And that's why they go after it. It's a very powerful symbol. It has the power that people put into it. When people love that flag, they're passionate about it. And that flag becomes stronger and stronger. I mean, I think Gilbert said it very eloquently in a really great book about flags. He said, a true flag is not designed, it's torn from the soul of the people. And our community feels very passionate about it. This is in Turkey, where in the last 10 years, again, things have moved backwards. They've tried twice in the last 5 years to have pride marches. And here come the water cannons and the tear gas and the police. I love this picture of this protester in Turkey defiantly fighting back. This is, again, Russia, where this guy was beaten bloody for, having a rainbow flag. And, we think we have it bad here. It's worse elsewhere, although now I can kind of understand how they feel, because now people are being murdered right here in our own country. This is New York City in 2010, where protesters had their flag taken away right here in New York City. So, it's the censorship can happen at home. This is here in New York City. An amazing activist, Stephen Love Menendez, puts all of our pride flags up at the Stonewall Memorial Park every year. And vandals came and took them all and destroyed them. And, this is Stonewall. This is the heart, the beating heart and soul of our movement. And to have this kind of vandalism, is frightening. And, this is a church in Eureka, California. It's, and by the way, I have to tell you, a lot of people don't know, we have a whole faith-based outreach program at our foundation. We work with Reverend Stringfellow in Detroit. We work with Pat Baumgarten here at the MCC Church. We work with the local gay synagogue. We work with faith leaders because, the thing about the rainbow flag, it's for everybody. It's for lawyers, it's for doctors, it's for soldiers, it's for activists. It's for people on the right and people on the left. It is not a political flag. We try to tell people that. We're very adamant about that. It's a flag for sexual and gender minorities. And when people hate sexual and gender minorities, you see what happens. You see right in this photo what happens. They want to burn it down. They want to erase us. They want to erase our symbol. They want to put us back in the closet or worse.
Well, and we should say that Ikaguchi was also a virulent anti-Semite. He also has adopted the whole right-wing thing against law enforcement and wants to do violence against them. It's like, Jim Jordan and you're weaponizing the FBI and we're going to get rid of you. And it's all part of that rhetoric. But, anti-Semitic violence and vandalism is way up too these days.
That's right. And like I said, these are people frightened that their way of life is being taken away from them. People have used all sorts of rhetoric to get their votes and raise money to scare these people into thinking that if a gay person gains their rights, they're somehow losing theirs, which is, as we know, is wrong. There's the pie is infinite. Everybody can have rights. but unscrupulous politicians, unscrupulous networks, bad journalists, they will keep reinforcing these ideas. Anyway, Adam Nagorny did a great expose of these people. You know, when they, for instance, they thought, well, we've lost the abortion issue. They won that. Then they were going to take on gay marriage. And they said gay marriage, when they came out against it, they said, this will be our new cash cow.
And it was for a while.
They raise money off of this.
Yeah.
And so what you've got is people creating this rhetoric now. You know, when those poor, you know, congressmen and senators were cowering in the Capitol when they were attacked on January 6th, there were people tweeting out fundraising appeals to make money off of that kind of hate and that kind of violence. They use it to make money and to monetize that. Social media has just accelerated it. And, you know, I believe yesterday, the law enacted in Europe against social media misinformation went into effect. I wish we had a law like that here.
Well, it's all depressing and enraging. And you and your work at the foundation give us hope. But as you say, you're a small organization. Thank heavens the ACLU has partnered with you and that you're bringing these cases against these laws, banning the flag. It's surrealism in everyday life. It's really.
It is. And I thank you for having me on to talk about it. It's really important because if they start with the symbols, they just don't stop there. You know what I mean?
No, it is utter fascism.
Yeah, it is.
Nice to see you, Charlie. We all need to support each other in these troubled times.
I appreciate it. If people want to go to www.savethe.rainbowflag.com. There's an interactive map. You can just tap on any of the map pins. It'll take you to the towns and the stories there. And like I said, we're really proud of the fact that we're having wins, because for us, it's not enough just to report and to cower in the corner and to say we're afraid. We need to win. We need to give people hope. And it's happening, and we're helping in what little way we can, and we're proud to do it.
We will have some hopeful stories later. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Gilbert. Thank you. Okay.